Fontaine, and you're listening to the Homebuyers Hour on WCPT AM 820, where the facts matter. And I want to thank everybody for listening. Poor Patrick Loftus, he decided to do a little birthday trip, so he took a week off. And I hope he's listening because I'm just going to call him lazy right behind his back. Watch out. Yeah, a little. Thank you for cheering so much, Joey. I really appreciate all that. So, but as we talk about the real estate profession and what's happening and stuff like that, I think everybody knows that I have a common denominator where I always try to seek out the people that really value building relationships of trust with their clients, and they usually are the same people that end up being pretty successful in this business. And I'd like to get them out here and get their stories, told. And the person here, James, I'm going to ask that you introduce yourself real quick. James Gurek, he's with Baird & Warner. And James, our conversation this morning was just awesome. You could see the passion. You could see everything else that you have for helping people buying a home. And I really take all that stuff seriously. So if you don't mind, please give us an introduction about you. How do people find out about you? And say hi to somebody special. Let them hear your voice over the radio.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I enjoyed our conversation this morning as well. James Gurk, Baird & Warner, real quick, 43 years young. I'm a cancer survivor, two-time NCAA national champion, #1 best-selling author, and I'm a real estate agent with the #1 brokerage in the city, Baird & Warner. I do want to say hi to my lovely wife, my little boy. Got a little 2.5-year-old troublemaking kid who's unbelievable. But no, I'm very excited to be here. Looking forward to the meaningful conversation, and hopefully we can add some value to some of your listeners out there.
Sounds good. And then remotely is Joey Matthews, the VA loan nerd. Joey, if you don't mind, give us your scoop and then tell us what's going on in the market. I want to know how busy I'm going to be next week.
Why, hello, Joey Matthews, NMLS 1230694. Yeah, you can find me at the VALoanNerd.com across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. If you're feeling randy, you can call or text me at 630-235-2405. Always ready to hear from you. In the markets, we have seen the 10-year Treasury drag a little bit again, so we're back down to a 4.21 yield. It's been pretty flat mostly since, I would say, August 10th or so. I'm sorry, July 10th or so. But the MBS market has not been tracking along with yields again until today. I would say we are trading at a 101 bips on the 6-year coupon, which is a good thing for rates. It's a good thing for rates, right? We are moving.
You knew I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, we've been above the 200-day average, the 25-day average, the 50 and 25-day average for what day is that? Since July 8th, we've been above all of those. So as we see more data come out, obviously Jay Powell has pretty much almost guaranteed a rate cut for the September meeting. Yeah, well, we talked about this last week, but there's futures traders are putting in a 90% likelihood of a rate cut in September, which is already being placed into rates. So if you're thinking that rates are going to change in September just because of this rate cut, they are likely not going to, because we are already trading assuming the rate cut, right? The only things that will change is November and December. There's right now for both months at those meetings, they're anticipating another 50. There's a 50% chance of a rate cut for both of those sessions, right? So if that likelihood increases to another 90% for November's meeting, then we will see rates improve again. The other piece here is how much will they cut rates? So right now, I do not see data on what the anticipated initial cut is. I believe it's 50 bips, 50 basis points, which is half of 1%.
That's a big chunk.
It is. Long story short is, have we held on too long? We will find out. We will find out if rates stayed too high for too long. Jobs data will matter. Tomorrow we have GDP coming out. The day after that, I believe PCE, the personal consumer expenditures, comes out. And as long as you people haven't been spending money over the last month, those will be good for the rate environment. I do see buyers are now holding out for better rates, which is hilarious to me because you are literally just flooding future market. If rates come down, you are all going to be entering the market together and driving up prices. So take the rates you can get at the home that you can afford. now, because you're just going to have a trade-off for value if you keep holding. That's
James,
me.
chime in a little bit.
Joey.
Is that a bunch of malarkey or?
No, first off, Joey, I absolutely love your intro. I got to step up my game for next time. I need that background music. I know there's a lot of truth to it. You know, rates are what they are. Unfortunately, a lot of buyers, from what I've seen over the last year plus, they were priced out of the homes that they want. All right, so
And it's going to happen again.
yeah, if rates start to come down, like say they tick down in September, what if they tick down again in Q1, right? The busiest time of the year, that January through May, May, June, the market, the competition for homes, especially in that springtime, if rates continue to drop, I think is going to be insane, right? This past spring, my buyers were, I think one of the things buyers underestimate is how competitive the market can actually be in some areas. Now, real estate, is local, even hyper local. What's happening on my block? Chicago downtown market's different from Lincoln Park, Lakeview, Bucktown, Wicker Park. I think a lot of buyers, no matter how much I try to express them and educate them on the competitiveness, especially in the spring market, right? It's one of these things that if interest rates continue to tick down, is going to be, again, even worse than this past spring, which was more competitive than the spring before. No matter how much I try to paint that picture for them, if rates continue to come down, home values or sale prices, I think are going to continue to rise, right? And what does
It's
that
all
mean?
that supply and demand.
A lot of it comes down to that. You got a lot of demand coming down to, in a lot of the areas around Chicago, and very low inventory. So what does that mean? Simple supply and demand. You've got 10 plus offers bidding on a home going, say it's a $500,000 home, it may get 550, 575, full appraisal gap waiver. It's a very competitive market. So when it comes to buying or selling a home, it really comes down to that client, right? Is now the right time for you? Okay, so if I have a client who can buy a home now and, refinance the rate 6-12 months whenever they come down, it's the home they want, go get the home.
Absolutely.
Go get the home. You can always refinance. It's, costs what, $1,000-$2,000 to refinance, right? It's better than paying $50,000 plus over the market value of a home.
No, but that brings up another point, though. I start thinking about expectations. Like I know Joey is passionate about everything that he does, and he crosses T's, dots I's. All right, I have faith in this man. James, you and I don't know each other that well, okay? But our conversation this morning was impressive. All right, you showed where you cared for the people. And the one thing that I think we really agreed on was a key word called expectations. And I learned this from my old fire chief. We consistently exceed customers' expectations. That's the goal, all right? And not through BS. We do it through legitimate things with teeth. So, and we were talking about how a lot of people think that mortgage brokers, home inspectors, attorneys, real estate brokers, we're all commodities, but we're not. So I wouldn't mind. How do you get how you're different to your clients in a short, concise way with not boring them to death like I do for bloviating every time I speak? All right.
I started listening to a guy named Sharon Savata not too long ago, and he's got a lot of great ideas on how to add value. For instance, now in this industry and in every, especially service-based industry, we always hear, you got to add more value, you got to add more value, you got to add more value. What does that actually mean? Okay, that's the $1 million question. What does value actually mean? All right, so rather than trying 100 different things, which I've done over the last 3.5, 4 years in real estate, it comes down to like, what if I were a client, what would I find most valuable? Okay, so if I go, we were talking about this morning, if I go into a cold buyer's consultation, right? Never met the buyer before, was not a referral. They reached out to me on one of the platforms and said, hey, thinking about buying a home, want to meet with you. Let's say they've met with 3 other agents already, okay? Realistic, every agent's going to show up with their buyer's guide, their information. They're going to talk about how great they are. They're going to talk about the buying process. They're going to talk about their team, how simple they're going to make it for them. At the end of the day, I've yet to see someone put out, it's what I call proof over promise.
Say that one more time, that phrase, because I am stealing it. I told you I was going to.
Well, I stole it from Sharon Savata. So
right.
Take it from, it's called proof over promise. What it is in a service-based industry, how do we actually get that client to experience what we are going to do for them in that moment, right? In a service-based industry, our product is what we can present, right? Now, the experience of that comes through going through the process, and in this industry comes to the final result, which is buying and selling a home, right? But if I've never met this person before and I'm telling them the same, similar items to what the three agents before me just told them, like, where's the differentiator? Right. What I like to do is provide a piece of paper. I basically draw a line, and I'm working on this. Used it for the first time last week and went great. I draw a line and say, throughout every step, this is the client's responsibility. Underneath every step, this is what I do for you to help take a complex process and deliver it very simply to you. Right. And when this client had it in their hands and it broke down my daily tasks, everything I do for them to keep the needle moving forward for them through every step of the way, you could see in that moment, it was like, okay, this is what I'm actually paying for, right? My time, my effort, my energy, my expertise, right? I think when I have something now that, could be considered an actual product, something tangible that they can hold, they can sort of start to experience, okay, through each step, this is what James is going to do for me. This is what he's going to do to take all this complexity and make it very simple for me. Right?
You're setting the expectations.
You're setting the expectations, but you're also showing that you're competent in what you do because you have a process. You have outlined, this is everything that I'm going to do for you, as opposed to just talking about a buyer's process or this or that and talking about it. One thing I understand is if our clients don't know what we truly do as their agents, they probably think we don't do enough or we don't do anything.
A lot of people have the thing where a real estate agent just unlocks a door and puts a number on a blank piece of paper.
Yeah, that's the perception in a lot of the consumer today. So when I show them have an actual product, print out, laminated, this is what I do for you. I really think it helps build confidence from the consumer, showing that I am competent. I have a sales process. I know exactly what we're going to do. If I have to pivot a little bit, I'm experienced enough to do so. But just to give them that, to open up the curtain and say, every agent you meet with is going to have their buyer's guide, things like that. Let me show you why my clients choose to pay me what they do. And I had great success with it last week. I'm looking forward to continuing to use it and tweak it a little bit as it should be for the rest of my career.
And Joey, he promised me that he's going to send me a copy of that so I could steal that too.
Yeah, I think
the
it can
pure
be used,
crook.
I think it can be used in every service-based industry.
I think so too.
You just take the basic format and put, okay, this is what I actually do in every step for the client. This is their steps. But for a client to have a visual as, hey, wow, without James, I'd have to do all these things. Oh, no other agent showed me this, right? To me, that's value. Proving to them that I'm competent, proving to them I have a sales process, and giving it to them in something they can hold, like they're going to a store, reading about a product.
I love all that, but let's go back to expectations a little bit, and I want you to have a little bit of a chat with Joey here. And what do you expect? Like we made the comment beforehand, what if you're working with a lender that you've never worked with before? And what are you going to do if you don't know who this person is and you don't know what to expect from them?
First thing I'm going to do is call them. I'm old school. Yeah, I love text and email. It's convenient, but I need to have a conversation with any person who, whether they're on my team or not, we need to have a conversation about that client, how we best serve them at that point in time. So if Joey and I ever do a deal together, believe me, first thing I'm going to be doing as soon as my client sends me, hey, I'm working with this guy, Joey. He's great. He's got a great intro. I love him. Great personality. I'm going to call him. Right, I'm going to let.
It's all about the intro. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, it's part of it. It's his personality. He seems easy to like. So I'm going to call him. I'm going to start to build a relationship with any team, whether it's in real estate, sports, whatever. Communication is the foundation for that whole thing is going to go.
And Joey, if he calls you and he starts asking you stuff like that, what are you going to do?
I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited because I know I have a realtor who actually gives a crap. Because I'll be blunt. I have been I've worked with some realtors that unlock the door and they walk away.
And I did the same thing. I confessed to him that I'm very prejudiced against most real estate brokers. And I make that clear. I don't hide that. But go on, Joey. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, no. I mean, it's the same stigma that the lender industry gets, thanks to places that they're essentially call centers. Is that the lender's going to be lazy? Like it's something that exists in every sect of our industry, whether it's an attorney, an inspector, an appraiser, a lender, it's a realtor. I love knowing that I'm not working on a team with a lazy person because I have to pull more weight when that happens, right? So if I'm getting that phone call, and this has happened on the last few transactions where I'm working with a new realtor and I love it, I get the phone call from the realtor, or I call the realtor, and we start engaging. We start, just spitballing new ideas to help our clients out. That stuff excites me because I know that I have a good team.
Yeah, but Joe, it's also about,
so I'm all about it.
it's also about being on the same page as well. For instance, say we're in the spring market, we're going into a property that's going to have multiple offers because their open house was a block party. Okay, I need to know, it's happened. It's crazy. I need to know, like, what is the client's like actual purchasing power? How much of how much from the down payment can we pull for an appraisal gap waiver without leaving them strapped? I do not want a client to be cash poor because they purchased a home they overstretched. So it's these type of details I need to know when going into a property potential offer, because I need to know how to structure that offer to best serve the client. The only way I know how to do that is to have an open line of communication with that lender. Some other expectations is I fully expect as soon as I send that offer out, the lender is going to know beforehand because he's going to run numbers on that property just so the client has clarity as to for what the monthly payment could be, if they're overstretching, if it actually works for them. As soon as I send that offer out, I reach out to lenders and say, hey, can you call a listing agent? This is the property, this is the information. Talk to them about your pre-approval process. Just sort of settle all fears right off the bat with that listing agent, because that type of communication, whether we're the highest priced offer or not, could help give some comfort to the seller that, hey, this could actually get to the closing table. This team has reached out multiple times, spoke with the agent, the lender, they've got their attorney, their inspection company, everything is already set up to make it as smooth of a process as possible. So that's one expectations I have just to my lenders. Let's do this together. If I'm reaching out to the agent, I'll let you know when that offer is sent. Just give them a call, even leave them a voicemail. Right? If they don't get back, call them the next day, but reach out on some aspect, reach out on some platform to let them know that the client is good.
And what's going to be your response, Joe?
You triple tap that, right? Because you're going to be CC'd on the offer. It's not always going to hit that list agent's email. I've seen it where it gets filtered into spam. So I'm also making a phone call, be like, hey, I'm calling on the so-and-so offer, and the list agent will pick up, and I'll say that. And they're like, oh, I don't see that. I'm like, all right, well, let's go check our spam to see if you have that now. Right? And then they find it in the spam. And now I'm talking to the list agent while they're looking at the offer about the strength of my client and how I know that it's going to close, because I won't pre-approve something that's not going to close, because that's a great way to get out of this industry.
Yeah. One thing.
So,
go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying. So if they don't pick up, I also text. I also reply to that email. So I triple tap everything. Assuming that they don't pick up, I also text and I shoot the email as well.
Are you doing a Zombieland reference there? With the triple tap? I know it's double tap, but I'm thinking it's Zombieland, isn't it?
Yeah, well, two to the body. You know what? I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because I don't think it's really appropriate.
I am so sorry. But this is one of my biggest sales takes. What?
To bring it full circle real quick, it all gets back to, what I said earlier, is communication is the foundation for all human behavior. Right? Joey reaches out multiple times. When I send an offer, I first email it. Then I text the offer recap to the agent, letting them know it's in their inbox. And then I call. And then once I call, I expect the loan officer to call right behind me. That way it's streamlined. It's concise. Boom. We got the offer out, spoke with the agent. I got the offer recap in my text message, right? Telling me that, hey, this is the offer, but it's also in your inbox. Appreciate your consideration. And then we followed up with the power punch, a loan officer calling them, say, hey, we're good.
Right? You know what? Then all that makes sense to me, because if everybody's on the same page and we're all singing out of the same songbook, that just makes it. I mean, who would I rather work with? An incompetent, lazy person, as Joey calls them, or somebody who's a true professional that realizes the brevity? I don't know if that's the right word or not. The brevity of the situation, And it's buying a home is a huge deal, and it just infuriates me when people diminish it, and I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting all emotional again. Watch out, Charlie's happening. I just had a phone call before we started the radio show today. Somebody's buying a home. I think it's in Lake Forest. I can't remember exactly where it is. But they want to get a pool inspection, and that's something that we started doing and stuff. And I feel horrible when I'm not able to talk to the person right away because I have something else going on, and I'm like, well, it's going to be an hour before I can get back to you and truly answer those questions, But it's just important to be there to answer those questions and doing clear, concise. And this is why I'm really intrigued by that bullet point form of this is what I do, you know.
Pull back the curtain. Show people why you get paid what you get paid. I think it's something that in a lot of service-based industries gets overlooked because, well, what are we kind of trained to say? Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. My team will take care of it. Right? If your clients don't actually know what you're doing for them, they kind of assume just naturally that you're not doing a lot or you don't do anything, especially with the stigma around real estate agents, right? Me, moving forward, I want to pull back the curtain. This is what I do. This is exactly what my clients choose to pay me, what they pay me, and show them. And then, you know, present them the data. It's their decision. If they use me, great. Would love to serve them to the best of my ability. If not, that's okay too, right? If you go with someone else, they don't live up to expectations, my door is always open, right? Maybe now is not the right time for you to use me. But then, you know, you come back 6, 12 months later, hey, you know what? Let's sit back down. Let's talk about what you have to offer.
As long as that trust is there.
I want to close relationships.
There it is.
Okay, I want to close relationships. Like, I'm not a transactional agent. When I go into a listing appointment, I'm not hoping and praying I get the listing. I want to close the relationship. Okay?
That's what you really sell. A lot of real estate brokers don't get that message.
We do. We are in the people business, right? Where do most deals come from? Referrals. One of my favorite clients. I'm not going to say the name. I don't want to disrespect any of my other clients. One of my favorite clients I've never done a transaction with.
Really?
But he has referred me over 4 people.
There it is.
Because of the data, because I'm helping them. He has sent me over 4 referrals over the last 18 months. I have yet to do a deal with him.
Isn't that something?
It's awesome. And it's just because I'm focusing on the relationship. How can I best serve that client to get them ultimately where they want to go on time?
And that's what I'm really trying to do too, is I recognize a value of a good real estate broker where they're going to build a relationship. And I always say you don't sell houses, you sell yourself. And that's the avenue that I want to do. And then I look at my own business and, you know, we got 11 inspectors and we need to keep everybody working. But I don't want to just get the job. You know, I want to build a rapport. I want to build, you know, that value and stuff like that. And that's where, you know, we go out of our way to impress our clients so that they leave a review. And one of the things we were talking about Google My Business earlier too. And one of the things that we try to do is encourage our clients to take a photo of our inspectors working and post that photo onto Google, Yelp, Facebook, Reddit now. And I'm surprised that I didn't even know that, but Reddit, I guess, is a huge,
It's a big platform.
yeah, big platform. I never realized how big it was. And then all of a sudden we've had past clients communicating on there and they're throwing up, you know, big, long reviews there about what we've done. And to me, that has value. You know, that word of mouth, I guess it's still in modern days. You know, it used to be you would ask your neighbor, and today it's, you know, you ask social media.
It's same but different.
It's same but
right?
different.
The internet, social media has found a way to connect everybody in the world, right? Someone can literally take a minute, write down a positive review on whatever platform they like.
Or a negative review.
Or negative. It's a good and bad with everything. And it's simpler for them to do that. And if you do a good, honest job for that client, right? Regardless if they leave a review or not, in my opinion, right? You did a great job. And then you keep, here's the important thing, you keep in touch with that client.
That's where I fail.
After you close.
That's where I fail.
That's where the relationship isn't just built.
Yeah.
All right. It's, you continue to build it, right? You have to build upon it. I have different systems I have set up post-closing. Right. And I'm not talking about parties and things like that. I'd love to have another client appreciation party, but like systems that add value. Like I have after clients lived in their home over a year, because I need some actual data, right? I send them when we were talking about this earlier, what are called market value analysis reports, right? I love to monitor how my client's asset is doing post-closing for as long as they have it, right? Not only is it a great touch point, it's a value add. I don't know, a lot of agents are truly doing consistently. Like how many real estate agents, you know, actually monitor that transaction post-closing?
But it's personal to that house.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's so how I have it laid out, it's very simple for me to do. I have you know, metrics on the entire area, then I break out a boundary around like what's going on in my client's backyard. Okay. From there, I plug it into another software I have, which breaks down all the data, puts it on one sheet of paper. Now, being I have multiple types of clients, personalities, I include it all in a real nice little booklet. It's very simple to follow, but the value add, especially, a lot of my clients have financial advisors, right? Don't you want to know how probably your largest asset is performing year over year for your wealth building strategies? Right. What about home insurance policies with how homes have appreciated over the last 4 years? Does your home still fit your policy? Have you outgrown it? If something happens, can you afford the rebuild? Right. Just this basic data, right? Once or twice a year in these annual reports, my clients have grown to love because no one else is doing it for them. No one else is actually monitoring on a consistent basis, like the largest asset a lot of them actually have. And just that simple report, it's a touch point for me. We go out for coffee. I just slide it to them, say, hey, take a look at this when you can. Not salesy at all. It's like, here's a report on your property. Look through it tonight. Let me know if you have any questions, how you can best utilize it. But
I hate that word salesy, by the way.
it's just like, you're doing something for them and expecting nothing in return because it's a relationship. And I think that's how a lot of my relationships are built. It's like Tony Robbins said, I heard him say a long time ago, when you give love and expect nothing in return, it's the purest form of love, right? It's the purest. Like when you genuinely give to somebody and expect nothing in return, that's where things really start to happen for you.
And as crazy as it sounds, that's kind of how I base my whole, business model is just keep giving. All right, just keep giving. And it's really weird. I've done some pretty remarkable things in my life. There's a lot of people that they can say that they delivered babies before. I delivered 5 babies in my 37 years on the fire department. I pulled a couple people out. I intubated a 4-month-old. I did a cardiac tamponade and a chest decompression. I've done some really unique things, but over 37 years, I could probably count them on just my fingers and thumbs, right? But every time we do a home inspection, and even when we do these Zoom call follow-ups with our clients, when we're done, they just look at you right in the eye and they say thank you. They hand you a big fat check in the left hand and they shake your hand in the right hand, and you could just see it in their eyes that they truly are thankful, and that's where the reward comes in. Don't get me wrong. I want to make money. I'm not going to lie about that. That's the whole reason why everybody gets up and goes to work, to make money. Now if you could do something that's rewarding, well, to be redundant, it's rewarding, quite a bit. And that's what makes life well for me, and I don't know, I jumped up on a little bit of a soapbox, so please forgive me for that, all right? But, Joey, I know I like to always hear your unique stuff, and I want you to share that one more time, if you don't mind. Why should somebody want to work with the frontline team?
Well, I mean, obviously, the whole premise of the frontline team, because we do work with a lot of first responders, we work with a lot of veterans. Everyone on the frontline team is either a cop, a firefighter, fire service, Marine, Army, whatever, right? So it's not for us a mortgage transaction. It's the same thing James is saying. It is a relationship. One of the things for me that matters the most is the mental health of my clients. And I know that sounds really silly, but I become friends with everybody I work with. At the end of the day, I do. So I follow up. If I see that something happened where I know you're working, I am checking in on you. I don't want to be a mortgage call. I want you to know that I care. And this is my whole team. I'm saying me, but this is everybody on my team. The mortgage is a mortgage. It doesn't even matter. If you work with us, you're going to close. That's besides what we care about. We care about you. We care about the job. We care about making sure that you're okay. We want to make sure that we are an ear for you if you do have a crappy situation, because I'll tell you right now, like, I had the close call at work that led to me essentially just quit tiring in December of 21. And if it wasn't for my ability to reach out to other people after that happened, then I don't know what would have happened to me. And I don't want other people to feel like they can't talk.
Mental health is a real deal.
Dude, yeah. So it's not like, for me, the mortgage is cool, whatever, I'm glad that I can help you with that, but I want to make sure that you know that, like, I actually care about you and your health.
And I'm going to correct you a little bit, Joey. It's not that you're going to make sure that they close. That's not 100% true. You're going to make sure either they're not pre-approved, or they're not pre-approved, or if they are, then they're going to close. Is that fair?
Yeah. That's fair enough. I'll go with that. That works. More better.
Yeah, I love more better. Yeah, no, it's, but that's the whole idea. Is it's not our job to schmooze or tell somebody all the good stuff that they want to hear just to feel the breeze as they're jumping off the cliff. That's not our job.
Yeah.
Our job is to tell them the truth, and that's where knowledge is power. And the more you know, the more you're worth. And that's where finding the right professionals is not always easy. And I don't know. For me, it's like, how is somebody worthy of me? And it's weird. I've become a horrible consumer now because my expectations are so high. Because I want people to hire our company, and I know you do the same thing. So I try to tell them why we're so much better, and I want to do more than everybody else. But it's, now my expectations are really high, I don't know. So maybe I'm not a good consumer anymore.
Yeah, just focus
You know
on.
what, Charlie? I like it. Let's go around the horn and introduce ourselves again, Charlie.
Well, then you start if you don't mind. You're right. I am late.
No, well, I looked at the time and I was like, oh, crap. Anyway, so Joey Matthews, a VA loan nerd. You can call or text me at 630-235-2405. You can find me at thevaloannerd.com or across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd.
Now, when I start introducing myself, he's going to be playing the goofy music, but we'll leave that
give me
alone.
some like AC/DC or something. I got to try to compete with Joey somehow. He's next level.
All right, give it a shot. Give us your routine. Let's see what happens.
We'll see.
Give us your
Flying by
info.
the seat of my pants here. James York, Baron Warner, 43 years young. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a two-time NCAA national champion, #1 best-selling author. I currently work for the #1 brokerage in the city of Baron Warner. I love what I do. I love helping people. And again, I'm honored to be here sharing time with you today.
Are you a solo person or do you have a team?
No, I have an amazing administrative team. So I am my
Tell
own.
me about them.
I am my own person, but they help make sure, my deals are submitted accurately, so on and so forth. All the paperwork's filled out correctly. But as far as like the face-to-face, myself to the consumer, myself to the client, I'm solo. I have if I need support, right? If for whatever reason I cannot be there, something's coming up, a showing has to happen, something. I have other agents I've built out very successful relationships with who can cover for me. I return the favor, help them out. Because when your business starts to grow and you try to scale, you need help somewhere, right? But I'm not.
Even when your business is grown, you need help.
Yeah, I'm not, I don't have 5 other people on my team where I land the deal and they kind of take it from there and manage it.
I hear that a lot.
I don't, for me, like I want to know my clients, right? I'm not just, I don't just want them to be a number, right? I want to know my clients. So with where my business is at right now, I can probably continue to scale it up a little bit to at least 20 plus million before I even need to consider bringing someone else on because of the assistance that Baird Warner provides me with. Which, just so you know, shout out to Baird Warner. You guys are fantastic. The admins I have at the multiple offices who never hesitate to help me out if I have a question, making sure my deals just stay, from an administrative standpoint, stay on track. That gives me a lot of the time and flexibility to focus on what matters most, which is the clients.
No, I love it. I'm going to take a moment and introduce our company. It's Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Quite frankly, we're the best in the entire Chicagoland area. And if you don't believe me, start doing some research on Google, Yelp, Facebook, Reddit. You're going to see hundreds of reviews. I think we're over 1,800 5-star reviews. You're going to see a lot of pictures and photos and just long books that people write. We go way out of our way. I know we use more tools and equipment to be more definitive in our findings. The Zoom follow-up calls that I do personally with all of our clients really helps them get prepared. It really helps the real estate agents too, because one of the biggest problems that I found is, all right, here's all these problems, and then we throw it in your lap. Now go deal with this, and you're going to have to get prices, people involved, everything else. And if we can go ahead and fix a lot of those issues or get them done, that takes a lot of work. And as long as it's accurate, it takes a lot of work off of other people that are getting involved in this. So, the Zoom calls have been just phenomenal, and I was really surprised at the feedback that I got from all that stuff. We're also working on a new app that we're going to be ready to launch real soon called Real Estate Central. But that's going to end up being a communication tool between real estate brokers, home inspectors, and all the contractors, mortgage brokers, attorneys, everybody involved, so that you can create that network that, where one person's going to be the hub, but everybody else can communicate with each other and they're all part of the conversation so that they can help their client. And then everybody gets alerts with those as well. We also own Home Inspection University, and that website is hiuil.com. And anybody who's interested in learning about the home inspection field, we give our online classes away for free. All right. All you got to do is reach out to me. And this was where James and I disagreed a little bit. And Joey, I wouldn't mind getting your 2 cents in it. But James used a comment of everybody needs to stay in their lane. And I was like, I cringed, right? I'm like, no, get out of your lane.
Define my lane. Don't define my lane.
Yeah, get out of that lane, And I'm like, especially with real estate brokers, it's almost like you want, and again, I'm talking prejudiciously, so please forgive me because I know every human being is different. I get all that, but it seems like most real estate agents want to be ignorant when it comes to a lot of stuff. They want their clients ignorant when it comes to a lot of stuff. And I'm like, why? The more knowledge you have, the more power you have. And especially when you run into somebody that you don't know or you don't trust yet, because you got to have that.
That's where what I was going to say when you were done. I was going to say, well, it's literally, if you're saying stay in your lane, it's because you haven't developed trust with each other yet. Right. So I figured that's the right you were going. So I'm glad that you jumped on it right away.
Yeah, I think he took that someplace where it wasn't intended to go. The comment "stay in your lane" means, like, Joe, if we're working with a client and they have a direct question about a program that you offer, do you want me answering that question, or would you recommend I refer them to the true experts so they get the most accurate information possible? Right, that's what I meant. That's what I meant by "stay in your lane." So, especially,
I get that.
especially with the lenders, it's my responsibility to get my client the most accurate information possible. With how dynamic the industry is and how dynamic the mortgage industry is, when a client comes to me with a very focused, specific question about their loan, the first thing I am going to do is say, let's call Joey and find out. Because maybe there was a switch to the program I don't know about. I don't know 100% about their finances. Like, that's what I consider your lane. So it's my responsibility in that moment to say, hey, let's talk to the actual expert who is handling this.
And my argument is going to be that, like, I did a home inspection for somebody that was getting a VA mortgage. And the person that they were getting the veterans mortgage from told them that, I forgot exactly what it was, but you're not eligible because of whatever reason. And we've been doing this show now for almost 2 years, if not longer. And then Joey and I did, a videotape on minimum property requirements and so forth. I know these things because I taught to this guy Joey here, and I built a relationship of knowledge with it. That other mortgage broker didn't know what they were doing. All right, it was a bunch of BS, and I was able to recognize that, and I was able to tell my client that's not true, whatever this was. And then I put him in touch with Joey, just because he knows the rules. He knows how they're done. He knows how to, if the appraiser comes in too low, he knows how to question that and get it back up there. And Joey, you're better off explaining all that stuff. And I don't know if you can remember the one deal that I'm talking about that I sent to you or not. But
off the top of my head, I'll just be honest, I can't. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I compare it to playing basketball. Right? Everybody in the mortgage space can write a VA loan. They can, okay? I can play basketball. But if we are doing a 2-on-2 game and you got to pick your teammate, are you picking me or Michael Jordan? Right?
I'm picking you.
That's goofy because, well, my analogy's gone, and this is a great show, guys. I'm happy to wrap it. No. But that's the thing, is just because you can do something doesn't make you an expert at it, right? Yeah. I will tell you, and I have no problem saying it anymore because I have fixed VA loans for other companies, for friends at other companies, for other loan officers in my own company, where something comes up and they just assume that the appraiser is this infallible human being. Yeah. And they're either messing up my value or they're flagging things that aren't actually required to be flagged. I got one in Kentucky right now. They flagged me for needing a handrail on a stoop. It's a 3-step stoop going. Into
4 is
house,
the
right?
magic number.
Well, so even better magic number. So it is going to be based on the municipal code, right? So if there's no building code about it, the VA technically there's nothing in the handbook that says you have to have the handrail. It is based on what is required by code for where you're buying. So Kentucky, it all falls under state code. I pulled up state code. I sent it to the appraiser. I was like, "Hey, dude, take this off. This isn't supposed to be on there." And he did. But like that's the thing is just knowing what they're flagging, what's required, what's not.
You don't have to know
Yeah.
everything, but we should have. I went to real estate agent school. All right. Why? I want to know your job. All right. Does that make me a bad person? I'm not going to try and sell real estate, but I want to know what it is that they teach, the real estate brokers. I haven't gone to mortgage guy school yet, all right, with Joey and stuff like that. But
Stay in your lane, Charlie.
but no, it's and maybe there's not a need. But I'll tell you what, you taught me a lot about, FHA. Which one is MPS? Is that FHA?
That's FHA.
All right,
FHA,
so
MPS,
minimum property standards is FHA, minimum property requirements is VA. And you taught me a lot, which really I could pass that on to our guys. And now whenever we're doing an inspection, we're going to be there before the appraiser gets there. And we could say that, oh, yeah, this is going to be another visit out here if you don't get this done before the appraiser gets here. So let's save some money and get it done before the appraiser comes out here. It's not a lot of stuff on that list. And you don't know how happy I am that you said 3 steps and handrail and you caught that. I got to tell you, I'm just so happy.
But see, this is where my comment is having the best teammates around and knowing
Yes.
what my main responsibility. I would have not known the 3. Like, I'm not that specialized in the VA and mortgage industry.
Yeah.
Right? Do I have a general understanding? Absolutely. You have to. But when it comes down to very specific, important items, right, I'm not going to guess on it. Right, massive liability. I'm not serving my client not doing them any justice. That's why I like, getting back to the whole vetting we were talking about earlier. Like, if I didn't know Joey, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to vet him.
Why not?
I'm
You
going to
should.
see how good he is. I'm going to see if I can rely on him when my clients need it most, say with this VA handrail thing.
You should be doing that to every professional
Everybody.
that you work with.
Every single buddy. That's why I've been very blessed to have a team around me, from attorneys, inspectors to loan officers. Joey, I'm looking forward to building a relationship with you.
All because he has the magic voice and I don't.
He has the military on the move. He has the military, and he sounds like he really knows what he's doing.
He does.
So
Yeah.
if like, I would not have known the answer to that 3-step on the VA, right? But if I know I got Joey who knows everything about the VA process, yes, I'm going to be like, let's call Joey.
Yeah, and it's not just VA.
And and vice versa. I don't think Joey's going to feel comfortable putting together a full-blown CMA on a property where my client's going to have to probably go in over a list, right? So
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
that's what I mean by stay in your lane. Surround yourself with the most competent people, the most competent team you can, so I can feel comfortable, I can feel confident saying, hey, I don't know, I'm not sure why this came up on the appraisal, but I tell you what, let's call the person who ordered the appraisal. Let's figure out right there from that expert what their thoughts are. And then, Joey's like, Kentucky code, nope, you're wrong, take it off.
It's
Done.
not just Kentucky; it's nationwide. All right, just to let you know.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a little bit of a code class right now. I promise to keep it short. I want everyone to know the difference between a guard and a handrail. A guard will prevent you from falling off a flat surface. A handrail will help you go up and down stairs. Handrails are required if there's 4 or more staircases. 3 or less, you don't have to have a handrail. 4 or more, you do. And in the International Residential Code, guards or guardrails, they need to be present if there's a fall potential of 30 inches or more. But we have communities in the Chicagoland area that have addendums to those codes. For example, Oswego, I believe they're 15 inches or more. They require a guardrail put on the stuff. And when we're talking about the city of Chicago, the minimum height there of those guardrails has to be 42 inches on exterior guards, where all the suburbs, they only have to be 36 inches. All right. So that's knowing stuff like that, so that, like, if you're dealing with a home inspector that you're not familiar with, and I always want you to rely on me. If you ever have a question, and you don't know me that well. You don't know if I'm full of crap or not. But I
We'll
really
find out,
feel
Sean.
like
We'll
I
find out.
know what I'm doing. All right. I've been doing this long enough and teaching people long enough. And if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. You know,
You seem like a genuine person who cares about people.
that's the
right?
important part.
And
That's what I believe in.
For me, that's the gatekeeper, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, does this person deserve a shot or not, right?
Yeah.
If you come off as genuine with a good heart, I'm all about opportunity, right? You can never have enough contacts in this world. Inside real estate, outside real estate, right? Life's about relationships. So
Even if we don't work together,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
If
As long as
someone-
we can trust each other.
someone
That's
comes
all.
off as genuine, good heart, good mind, wants good things for good people. For me, I'm like, okay, this is a good person. Right? I can sit down, have dinner with this person, lunch. We can do some business together, see what goes or see how it goes. But for me, like that's the entryway right there. If I get a bad vibe from someone or think, they're solely about numbers and things like that, that's not how I'm building my business.
Yeah, I talk with a few of the other bigger companies in the area, and I just heard people saying stuff, other inspector competitors, like the guy that probably has the biggest market share, his priority is speed. He wants to do everything that he can to shave off minutes from the time that they're on site doing the inspection. He feels that the real estate agent is his client, and he doesn't want them wasting their time on a home inspection. And I'm just appalled by that. I have other competitors that they limit the amount of defects that they put in a report to 15. We're going to put 10 to 15 items in there. That's it. Yeah, I love your look right now, James. He's like, what the hell? Who does that?
It's a disservice.
I think so
If
too.
that's happening, it's an absolute disservice.
But on the same note, let me talk about my weakness. We average around 70 issues that we put in a home inspection report. A lot of those issues are minor things, all right? But sometimes it scares the bejesus out of my clients. And I don't know that until I get a chance to talk to them, until I get a chance to hear what's serious in your mind. All right, let's talk that out. Like GFIs. We mark them in big red color boxes and everything else. And people get freaked out about it. But I'm like, okay, listen, I believe in GFIs. I truly do. But we're talking $25 and 15 minutes, all right? It's not, something to panic over, for crying out loud. We have a bunch of handymen that could go ahead and fix these things or install them, and I think they're good things. And I don't know, and I downplay the GFIs quite a bit just because the cost to cure is so low. Am I wrong on that?
No, they're probably in 80% of inspections you do.
If not 98.
And also underneath the little accordion tube underneath the sink.
Oh God, yeah.
There are things that I see come up in inspections quite often. I've been
Yeah.
doing this long enough to understand what's a major issue and what is typically minor. I also understand by law you have to put things in certain colors, so on and so forth. Which is why I require that at the end of the inspection, the inspector go through the summary with my client and give them a little more perspective as to this is the real issue. Oh, wow, it's electrical issue. It's $18 part at Home Depot. We can work through it. It's not a $500 credit like your father's saying. It's things like that.
That was a nice one. I like
It
that little.
happens.
It does
And God
happen.
bless them. They want what's best, right? And I'm all about negotiating. I'm all about saying, hey, let's get this property for as little money as possible. But it depends on the situation. If we had to go multiple offer and it's as is, if we come back and ask for something, it has to be a legitimate ask. The HVAC system better be leaking. Humidifier better be done. Like something has to come up that we weren't initially told about. Like, hey, the HVAC unit, everything's just fine. All of a sudden we show up and the AC conductor is completely busted, right? It has to be something major, in my opinion, for us to come back and say, okay, I know we said as is, but just so you know, this is the issue with the home. Like, let's have a conversation about this to see if we can work this out to keep this deal moving forward.
And this is kind of where I was going, the more you know again, because sometimes home inspectors don't know. The biggest thing I tell new inspectors when they start out in this business is that you want to be a licensed plumber in the state of Illinois, it's 5 years of schooling and on-the-job training. You want to be a licensed plumber in the city of Chicago or the metropolitan area here, another 5 years of schooling and on-the-job training. HVAC, 4 years. Now you start adding on the roofers, the framers, the concrete pourers, the garage door, the window, the door cabinet, the countertops, insulation, the painters even, everything, the hardwood floor installers. there is so much to know, but don't worry. All you got to do is listen to Charlie for 60 hours on a YouTube, videos and get 70% on a multiple choice test. And poof, you're able to help somebody with the biggest purchase of their life. And this can harm families for generations if they walk into the wrong house,
I think the entry level, the barrier has to be increased on some level.
And we're trying. We as a state association, which I'm the president of right now, we just got passed into law that all new home inspectors, and this is going to start January 1, 2025, all new home inspectors have to take a field exam, all right, where they're going to go up head to head with somebody like me. And you need to find at least 70% of the stuff that I find in a house. So there's no multiple choice. There's no signs. There's no 104. These are the defects that we're documenting these things in there. And you need to get 70% of those if you want to pass. And if you don't get the 70%, we're going to tell you what you missed. My goal is for people to learn and to improve our reputation and stuff like that. And I'm sorry I jumped on this thing again. Joey, if you don't mind, give us your contact information. We're getting short on time, and I need to thank Devin here for doing all the magic.
Always, Joey Matthews, the VA Loan Nerd. You can find me at thevaloannerd.com or across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. You can also feel free to call or text me at 630-235-2405.
Sometimes I wish you were here in the studio with me and you could just see James's face when he started giggling as soon as he hears the music.
I'm jealous. I dig it, man. You set the mood. You got the voice to go with it, right? Next time I'm going to have a theme song. I'll send it beforehand.
I love it. Yeah, we'll get it over to Devin. James, one last time, please share with us your contact information, phone numbers, social media, everything you got, please.
Again, I'm James Yerrick, Barron Warner. You can Google me, go through my Google business page, maybe easiest. Direct line, 703-772-6264. James.Gerrick@BarronWarner.com is the email. You can find my website, everything through that. I don't want to just spew off a bunch of information you're not writing down right now, but if you can just Google my name, James Gerrick, all the information should come up. If you want to reach out, we'd love the opportunity to get to know you, build a relationship, and hopefully serve you one day.
And just out of curiosity, that form, that bullet point thing, what do I do on these stages? What's expected of me? Do you give that out to everybody, or is that open public stuff that they can get?
That's something that I've been working on just for a little bit. I used it for the first time last week. Had with a new buyer, it was a buyer consultation. I showed them this is exactly what I do.
Okay.
Right? I opened the door for them, showed them why my clients decide to pay me what they do, and you could just see kind of an aha moment, like, oh, so this is what you do, as opposed to every agent has.
Does anybody ever ask you to do all the real estate agents do this?
I've only done it once.
You've only that form, but I'm talking about the list.
This is something that I'm developing in that proof over product or proof over promise form. Something I'm developing. Not just to help clients understand exactly what I'm doing for them, but with all the changes going on in the industry, it's going to be more and more important for buyers agents to actually prove their value to clients.
Outstanding. I can't wait to get my hands on that. And thank you again for being here with us.
I appreciate you having me.
Again, my name is Charlie Belfontaine. I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Our phone number is 312-544-9180. I'd like to give a thank you to Devin Tingle. He is my favorite producer, and I'm looking over my shoulder for Henry. He is my favorite producer here. And again, my name is Charlie, and